we'll call the May 26th meeting of the Falmouth Zoning Board of Appeals to order, and we will take a 10-minute recess and then go through our normal introductory process, pending the arrival of the rest of the board, I hope. So, we're in recess. Okay, we'll call the meeting back to order. The board before you is the board for this evening. So let me begin by just reminding everyone, please, to silence your cell phones. Make sure I do that. Well,
why is that front door open?
And also by introducing the board. So to your left is Mark Kuhl, who is an associate member of the board, but will be serving on all the hearings tonight. C.J. Hurry, who is the clerk of the board. I'm the vice chair of the board, but I'll be chairing tonight because Kim Beelan, who's normally the chair, is absent. Has family emergency. And Ed Van Kuren, who is a voting member of the board. Also helping us out this evening, Sari Boudreau, who's our zoning administrator, and Drawday Geishecker, who's our recording secretary. So, as I'm sure some of you know, the Zoning Board of Appeals is charged with applying the zoning bylaws for the town and considering requests for special permits, variances, and appeals as provided by the laws of the Commonwealth, by the zoning bylaws, which have been approved by the town and by the Attorney General's office for the Commonwealth. Our goal is to hear testimony from applicants and the public and to allow full and fair consideration and discussion of the project prior to rendering a decision. To begin each hearing, the clerk will read public announcement and then present any pertinent information from the file, such as referrals from town departments. Then the applicant or the applicant's representative will be invited to present the project. We have a time limit of 15 minutes for that presentation. If additional time is needed, it can be granted by vote of the board. The board will then question the applicant, and then the public will be invited to comment. Public comments should be directed only at the project, of course. Obviously refrain from making any derogatory remarks that are personal. You can certainly include, and in fact we encourage you to include an opinion either in favor or opposed, or you can just ask a question if you have a question about the nature of the project. If things start going on too long, the chair may limit discussion, and also please direct all your comments through the chair, through the board. Wait to be recognized, and when you get to the podium, state your name for the record. After we've heard all the testimony from the public and answered all the questions from the applicant, if we have enough information, we'll vote to close the hearing. We may then have some discussion and propose a motion either in favor or to deny, or we could decide to continue the hearing rather than close it. Motion will include key findings and also a clear statement of any conditions. And then, now let's see, tonight we have 4 members, so an affirmative vote of all 4 members is going to be required to pass a motion, because a supermajority is required. Okay. So, we have 5 new hearings tonight, and we also have a request for administrative approval, and there's a comprehensive permit during the open meeting portion of the meeting. So the first hearing tonight is 42-16 Childs River Realty LLC, 115 Childs River Road in Fort. TJ, read the announcement, please.
Thank you, Ken. Being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 48 of Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that Childs River Realty LLC of Northern Mass applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to Sections 240-3C and 240-68A, B, and D of the Code of Falmouth to demolish the pre-existing non-conforming single-family dwelling and construct a new dwelling on subject property known as 115 Childs River Road in White, Mass. And for referrals, engineering is the standard comment with the addition that it's a private road. They recommend setting the cobble apron at least a foot behind the edge of the pavement to prevent plow damage. 1 foot asphalt apron would be typical. From building, shall comply with all applicable building code provisions, including the flood resistant
Construction.
thank you, Sabrina. From conservation, advertised for notice of intent hearing for 4/2016, hearing continued to 5/11/16. From the fire department, no comment. From planning, no comment. That's it for referrals.
Okay, for the applicant.
Good evening. For the applicant, Raul Gisardi from Homes and Grass. The project is at 115 Childs River Road, as it was read into the record. We're proposing, or the applicant is proposing, to demolish a pre-existing non-conforming dwelling and rebuilding a single-family dwelling, not any more non-conforming than the existing structure. The nonconformities and the redevelopment outcome of these nonconformities are as follows. The front setback, the requirement is 25 feet to the street, which is Charles River Road. We currently have 15.8 feet. We're proposing no change to that front setback. Second, side setback. The requirement is 10 feet. The current existing house is 8.6 feet. We're slightly proposing an improvement to 8.7 feet. Third one will be the setback to the waters of Vineyard Sound, in this case, which is the tidal pond Charles River. The required setback is 30 feet. Currently, the existing deck is only 1 foot, and this is measured from the waters at elevation 3 foot. However, the existing house, if we not look into the decks, the existing house is 31 feet from that elevation 3. The proposed house is slightly reseated, so it will provide 33 feet. So even though there is no net change because of the decks, the main structure on the property will be an improvement to this setback, but still a nonconformity. Fourth, lot coverage by structures. The requirement is 20%. Currently, the existing development of structures, which includes the house, decks, pier, stairs, exterior stairs, currently sits at 35.3%. The current project does not propose to change this percentage, so post-construction we're still at 35.3. 5, lot coverage by structures, impervious surfaces, parking, and so forth. The requirement is 40%. Currently is 44.3%, and there's no proposed change to this. Other changes that are being proposed with this application is that the existing first floor of the house will be raised from elevation 15.8 to 18.6. Currently, Charles River Road, it's at elevation 17.5, and the waters coming off, the runoff water coming off of Charles River Road run towards the front of the house. The house currently is at 15.8. We're proposing to elevate the house finished floor and regrade the front yard between the house and Charles River Road to divert the water and not puddle in front of the house. And as I mentioned earlier, the back side of the house is being moved further back away from the resources. So essentially the main portion of the house is getting a reduction in footprint from 1,995 square feet to 1,864. In the total square footage of structure that is washed off because the reconstruction of the deck will take that space that currently is occupied by the existing house. The existing septic system, the leaching field will remain. It's currently designed for a 4-bedroom system back in 2001. So the leaching field remains in place. We are proposing to remove or abandon the existing septic tank, which is also working as a pump chamber. We're proposing a new septic tank in the front yard. It meets the setbacks to the street property lines, where currently the existing septic tank does not meet setbacks to the side property line. The new septic tank will be gravity, so in itself it will be a smaller structure, and it will be gravity from the house to the tank and from the tank to the leaching field. There was a referral from engineering that requested that the cobble apron, which currently there is a cobble apron to the driveway, to be shifted back a foot back from the sort of alignment of Charles River Road, the edge of the road. This road is a gravel driveway. We proposed 1 foot back from what that extended edge of the gravel driveway or gravel road to comply with that requirement, not requirement, but request from engineering. And we're still waiting the order of condition from conservation. The hearing for the notice of intent was closed on the 11th of this month. This week we're expecting to receive the order of condition, but at the moment we don't have it yet. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer.
Okay. Questions for Raul?
Oh, I don't have any questions.
DJ?
Raul, is there a basement proposed for the proposed structure?
There is a proposed full basement. It's going to house utilities, and it's going to be unfinished.
And just to address the square footage here, I see that there's 2 sheds on the properties and you'll be removing 1.
There are 3 sheds on the property. Part of the compensation, because the first floor is lifted, we have additional stairs that the current house doesn't have. So to compensate the additional stairs and landings, we're removing one of the sheds, which is the one that's shown on the plan on the bottom side of the plan. That one is being removed. There are 3 sheds on the property.
Okay, I see on the plans here that you just submitted, it said that the 2 sheds were being removed.
1 shed is being removed.
All as needed for construction.
All right, there's, the lot is pretty small, so everything is very close to each other, so things have to be removed temporarily for construction.
Okay, thank you.
Mark?
Sure. Just to piggyback on the sheds. On the plot plan, I guess it's the sheds on the southern side of the property.
The south is looking up on the plan.
Okay,
The north is looking.
so that's actually north?
That's north.
North side of the property. Am I reading this correctly, that shed nearest Childs River Road has an overlap of a half a foot?
That's correct. The shed kind of straddles 0.6 feet the property line, and that's the 1 shed that's being removed.
Okay, so this shed right here is being removed?
That's the shed that's being removed.
Okay, and this shed is not?
It's being removed for construction and put back in place.
Okay.
Raul, could you point on the plan right there which one is being removed and not replaced? It is that one.
Okay. All right, so that brings me to my next question. The shed on the north side of the property indicates 1.5 feet away from the side property yard. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And then anything less as far as a shed of 100 square feet has to be 3 feet from. So is there any, in both circumstances, is there any intention of complying with that 3-foot setback from side yards by these sheds?
I can see no problem with that one on the north side. The one on the south side, we looked into flipping the walkway and the shed. What that does is increases development because the walkway becomes slightly larger, and it kind of interferes with Conservation Commission for that. But I'll mention it to the applicant to see if he can relocate it, maybe even to the north side of the property.
Right, I mean, the whole
have the
point
compliant.
of zoning is try to be as compliant as possible, and if we have wiggle room, that would be great if the applicant can do that. In fact, it might be a condition that we consider. The next question then would be the porch on, I guess that would be that's the north side, that would be on the west side, facing the Childs River. Is the intention to have that windowless and open?
That's correct. There's
No
elevation
intention.
plans on record. It's going to be an open porch, but there is a second story above that.
That's correct, I saw that. But it is going to be open?
Yes.
No screens, no windows, no nothing like that?
Currently, there is a screen 3 seasons room. They don't want that. They want a
So
porch.
that they're going to, okay. So it's per plans, basically, is what you're saying. All right. Just out of curiosity, why with a second floor, moving from a 1.5 stories to 2 stories, plus an elevation, why wasn't there any bulk calculations provided?
Well, the existing house, half of it is 1.5, and the other half is 2 stories.
Right.
The section that's to the north is 2-story, full 2-story. When they planned their footprint layout, they couldn't fit it within the same kind of 1.5 and 2-story house, so they expanded the second story throughout the entire width of the property. But if you visit the site and visit Charles River Road in this area, this neighborhood, most of the, I can't say most of it, but some of the houses have already gone from the old 1950s, 1960s to 2-story houses. And so this will be in keeping with the neighborhood, but we don't have calculations of the bulks.
Okay. That's all my questions for now.
Okay. Well, following up on Mark, what is the height to the ridge from the grade?
The proposed is 26 feet. Three inches.
26.3.
And that's proposed, and what is it currently?
We don't have an existing ridge elevation. I don't have that information.
I agree with Mark, and usually, when you have this kind of lot coverage, then we usually ask for a bulk calculation and some comparison and to some of the other houses in the neighborhood, especially we'd like to know, how does this lot coverage compare to others? Is it in keeping with the character of the neighborhood? My visit out there, I saw a lot of 1-story houses, a few 1.5s. I didn't see any full 2 stories. There's a number of significant maple trees on the site. I was wondering if they're going to be preserved.
There's a big, I believe it's a maple, could be an oak, on the back of the deck at the corner. They're wanting to preserve that tree. There's a few by the street that will not be harmed with this project. There's a pine that some limbs may have to be trimmed off, but none of the oaks that are on the street and on the backside are being proposed to be removed. There is, in fact, a row of arborvitaes that is being removed from the project. It's on the south side, but in its place, through the Conservation Commission process, we're proposing to replace them with cedars all along the south property line.
Yeah. So you have a full basement. Do you currently have a full basement?
No, the current house is a slab.
What is stored in these sheds?
I know one of the sheds has an oil tank, above ground oil tank, that's being removed. The other ones are garden sheds, tool sheds. Not really sure what's in them. That's what they are.
So now that you have a full basement, one way that you certainly could make this more conforming would be to simply remove all the sheds, get rid of your sideline nonconformity with respect to shed, and use your basement for some of that tool storage. What is your reaction to that?
I'll have to ask the applicant for that consent.
Because you're not just a little bit over the lot coverage, you're way over the lot coverage. You're way over the coverage of lot by structured paving and parking.
Right, but this is also a site that's been developed since the late 1950s.
It has, but you're redeveloping. You're raising and reconstructing, totally removing the existing structure. So that's an opportunity to achieve more conformance. But the oil tank is going to go in the basement now, is that correct?
I don't think they're gonna stick with oil.
Oh,
They
they're
may
gonna
be
switch
going to gas,
Okay. I
but-
wasn't sure if gas was available.
but I do know that the outside, above ground oil tank is being removed.
Okay. All right, well, those are my questions for now. Any comments from the public? Comments from the public? Sari, anything?
No, thank you.
All right, what's the feeling of the board? We have enough information?
Well, on my site visit, I would agree with you with regard to it. It would be nice to have the bulk calculations, especially given the fact that they're elevating the proposed structure in addition to layering on a second floor. And just for comparison's sake, I think it would give me a more comfortable, you know, for all practical purposes, it's a good plan, given a small space. There's a lot of nonconformities, and I think the purpose of our board, just like you stated, is, geez, if there's a way to bring it into conformity or closer to conformity, let's dig into that. I think the suggestion that you made for the consideration of the applicant is, with the expanse of the basement now being accessible for storage potentially, you could probably get rid of sheds, though there's a lot of stuff to do out in the yard, so I...
Well, there is, but do you need two sheds, for example? You know, I can see you might not want to light your lawnmower right up, you know, up and down the bulkhead every time you need to do something. But this is going to be a significantly larger home.
I think so, and significantly larger with no change of nonconformities.
Right.
And so I would hope the benefit for not only the applicant, but for the immediate neighborhood and for the zoning purpose would, if we're going to give you something, what can we get back for it? And so, you know, we're trying to be agreeable and figure out, you know, how to get closer to compliance. But I think, you know, it would give me a better feeling if we were to have a bulk calculation.
Okay. So is it fair to say you're not prepared to vote in favor unless you have a little more information?
Yes, I would say I would probably feel better with the bulk calculation.
TJ? Your thoughts?
Echo what you guys said during my site visit. It's a lot of 1-story, 1.5 stories there. I'd just like to see where it falls on a bulk calculation.
Ed?
Yeah, that's the only other thing would be to get rid of the shed on the south side. But there's nothing to keep them from coming back and changing the one on the north side to a 200 square foot.
Right, except that, well, there is something if we condition it.
Right.
A shed not to exceed X.
Yeah, and I don't know what the dimensions are of the shed in there.
They're small,
Yeah,
Yeah, they're pretty small.
they're like 8 by 12.
not even, I
No,
don't
it's
think.
all- It's a very small site, so
Yeah.
therefore,
Yeah.
how much equipment do you need?
And keep in mind, they have to adhere to Conservation Commission as well. So they may not be able to relocate, you know,
Right.
within a proper setback.
Right.
Right.
But the alternative would be storage down the basement.
But what I'm hearing is we'd like to get,
Except for the lawnmower.
we'd like to get perhaps the applicant to weigh in on reducing the number of sheds and the lot coverage a little bit. We'd like a bulk calculation, and then we're probably not prepared to vote tonight and close the hearing, so therefore, we have a motion to continue.
I'll ask for a continuance.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll make a motion to
And
continue.
I'll second.
You want to pick a date? That might
You know,
help.
I mean, you said we have to meet, it's sort of an emergency meeting next week. Do you not want to pile on, or?
I can. I didn't expect 3 weeks off anyway. Can you do it all by next Thursday? The bulk calculations, everything?
They're pretty easy.
No, the next hearing's in 3 weeks.
And you've got a good
I can help you
way
with
to
the
do
book.
it, so, I mean,
All right, we can do it.
and plus, didn't you say that the Concom will have their conditions back by then, too?
Should be
And
this
they-
week.
It doesn't,
I wouldn't count on it because Jen's off tomorrow, and I think, we'll hope they have them. They did approve it, she just hasn't done the conditions, but this site is clearly all conservation.
right.
So I don't know why the board would hold up. You can ask, I guess you can accept their conditions, even though I don't like that, because it can hold it up.
That'd be great if we knew what they want, but,
We'll see if we can't get an idea even from
So-
Mark.
So we have a motion to continue to.
What date?
Thursday, June 2nd.
You can do that
uh,
at 6 o'clock.
Here at Town Hall at 6 PM. All in favor?
Aye.
I'm sorry, who seconded that?
I did.
I thought he
Yeah.
did it.
I think Ed made the motion.
Yes.
Ed?
I seconded it.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So the next hearing is, I'm going to take this, 44-16, Saconaset Golf Society LLC, doing business as TGA, 132 Falmouth Woods Road.
Being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that Saconaset Golf Society LLC, DBA TGC of North Falmouth, Mass. applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to Sections 240-68A8 and 240-70B to construct an accessory structure, metal building, for equipment storage in the front yard more than 50 feet from the front property line with a building height up to 25 feet on subject property known as 132 Falmouth Woods Road, East Falmouth, Massachusetts. And for referrals from engineering is the standard comment with the notation that Falmouth Woods Road is a private right-of-way and the project must not direct stormwater runoff to public property, abutters, or rights-of-way. From Conservation, no comment. From the Fire Department, no comment. From the Water Department, there is either a 12-inch or 8-inch available water line. Any water service would need to be applied for at the DPW building. No apparent issues for water service foreseen. From Planning, no comment. From Marine Environmental Services, no comment. And it looks like there is one letter in support of the project.
Do you want to state who that's from for the record, please?
That is from the Bellamine Property Owners Association.
Thank you.
Okay, and here for the applicant.
For the applicant, Kelly Cardoza from Avalon Consulting Group. I represent Saconaset Golf Society LLC, which is doing business as TGC. It used to be the Golf Club of Cape Cod, and now they're just going by the initials. TGC operates under a special permit that was issued by this board in Appeal 9102 in October of 2002 as an 18-hole golf course, clubhouse, and amenities, and it was modified by this board in Appeal number 9210 in January 2011 to extend the time for construction of the equipment storage building that's before you today. It's also been reviewed as a DRI by the Cape Cod Commission, who issued a minor modification 1 in April of 2016 to allow construction of the proposed equipment storage building in the form and location that's being proposed now. The existing special permit allows the construction and operation of an 18-hole golf course, clubhouse, management facility with an office shop building and some ancillary structures, and all of those have been constructed and are in use. The equipment storage building and 3 cottages for commercial accommodations have not yet been constructed. The entire site is subject to a permanent conservation restriction pursuant to MGL Chapter 184. It's held by the Falmouth Conservation Commission, and it limits the use of the site to golf and recreation with ancillary structures. The equipment storage building that we're proposing was allowed in the special permit as an accessory structure located in the front yard and as an accessory structure with a building height of 25 feet. The applicant seeks to amend that decision to allow the construction of the equipment storage building in the management facility center at essentially the same location as permitted in the original special permit, but the exterior finish has been changed to a metal building. In that process, the ridge height has been lowered by 2 feet, and the footprint has been reduced by about 230 square feet. The overall lot coverage is still well below the allowed limit. There'll be no changes in pedestrian or vehicular traffic patterns. There won't be any increase in parking spaces. There's no change in drainage because this building was anticipated at the time the design was done and at the time the other construction has been done. There is no water service to this building because it's an unheated building. So the plan that's here shows you the location on the property. This is the clubhouse, this is the existing management building, and this orange here is the proposed building. This is a blow-up that was in the corner of the cement plan. That's just at a slightly bigger scale. And I know at least, Ed, you did a sidewalk.
Yeah.
There's an existing storage container here, so that's the relationship between the storage container and the proposed building.
Is that container going to go?
That container is going to go.
Okay.
Kelly, can you grab the mic, just in case we're being televised, that, so they can pick it up?
Sorry. So this is the elevation of the proposed building. It's 118 feet long and 34 feet wide. It has one jog in it to kind of break up the massing. And on the westerly side, the elevation is 19 feet. On the easterly side, it's 23 feet. So there's a variation in roof height as well, as you can see. It's an unheated building. It will have a metal roof, trim, and siding. The colors are fairly similar to this. It'll be a burnished slate for the roof and gray, ash gray for the walls and for the trim. The photos that are in your packet are here. These were from March, and this one is taken from the driveway for the Cape Club, which is Ballymade. And this one is taken from the edge of Falmouth Woods Road. You can see that you really can't see that storage structure through there, and there was also a small bobcat. So when TGC was constructed, there was a requirement to keep a pretty good existing wooded buffer and then also to add to that, and that's in place at this time. So you can see that you really don't see much of that. So I think that given what we've seen here, there really won't be a change for the neighbors. There won't be impact on view shed, and it's not a substantial change from what was previously proposed. That's everything I have.
Okay, let's see if there's anyone that has a question. Anyone have a question on the board?
No.
Mark? Okay, I'll ask one quick question. So you said the facade has changed, that's really the only thing. What was the prior facade going to be?
It was white cedar shingles with asphalt shingles on the roof.
Any questions from the public regarding this project? Okay, if there's no questions from the public or the board, I entertain a motion to close.
Make a motion to close.
Ed
I'll second.
and Mark. Moved, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And how would the board like to proceed?
I'll make a motion to approve 4416.
Second.
Okay, Mark and Ed. And findings?
Bill would like to, oh, the plan is on.
Reduction in, there's a proposed reduction of ridgeline height, which is, I guess, advantageous.
And square foot,
I'm sorry?
and square footage.
And square footage, yes. Yep, that's a reduction. The proposed is no heat, no water to the facility. And I think they satisfy 240-68A8 and 240-70D.
And no impact on views and vistas.
Yeah, that's part of,
240, 216.
Right.
yeah.
Okay, and conditions,
Build it like
Per-
the drawings.
Per plans.
as per plans.
Yeah.
Sri, are we missing anything? Any other conditions we ought to have?
No, it's a metal building, so I can't imagine, unless they finish the inside totally different, that they could have heat unless you want to.
Well, I think that
You made
should
the
be-
finding.
Come back.
Yeah, why don't we
Condition?
make that both a finding and a condition?
Okay.
And, okay, all in favor?
Aye.
And aye. All righty,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Kelly.
Next hearing is 46-60, Quistit Harbor Boatyard, 36 Quistit Harbor Road in Woodsville, just over Woodsville.
Being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that Quistit Harbor Boatyard, Inc. of Falmouth, Mass. applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to Section 240-3C of the Code of Falmouth to allow for a dwelling unit within the existing main boatyard building on subject property known as 36 Quistit Harbor Road, Woods Hole, Mass. And for referrals, engineering is the standard comment. From the building, shall comply with all applicable building code provisions, including fire suppression. Falmouth Fire and Rescue. They've reviewed the plans, and whereas it's being requested that the current occupancy include a residential use, the building may require a sprinkler system as required under the building code. From Conservation, order of conditions has been issued to rebuild after the fire, as long as the bedroom number does not change and is part of the approved order of conditions 25-3843. From Historical, the applicant must file for a certificate of appropriateness if they considering changes to the exterior of the building. And from Planning, no comment. There's also 15 letters of support in the file.
Okay, Bob.
Good evening, Mr. Foreman and members of the board. I'm Bob Ament. I'm an attorney. My offices are in Falmouth, and I represent the applicant. The applicant is a Massachusetts corporation, Quistit Harbor Boatyard, Inc. It was created in 1956, the corporation, by Bruce Barnard, who is the father of Weatherly Barnard Doris, who manages the boatyard. And her father is still the president and involved in the boatyard some 60 years later. The boatyard genesis is the late 1900s. It was known as Eldrin and Fish, and then later now become the Quistit Harbor Boatyard. It suffered a tragic fire in January of 2012, and the main boatyard building burned. The building has been replaced through tremendous effort by Weatherly Doris with the support of the community. The building, of course, the building itself dated from before zoning began in Falmouth in 1926. So the building close to the water was a pre-existing non-conforming structure, and the use, a marina in a residence, what became a residence district in 1926. The marina predated zoning, and so it's a pre-existing non-conforming use. The building was reconstructed pursuant to the zoning bylaw, which allows for the reconstruction of properties damaged or destroyed by fire. And the issue that's before the board tonight is the request of the applicant to include within the boatyard building that has been reconstructed a residential use for the owner or employees of the boatyard. That use began around a little after 1980. So that was the use inside the boatyard building along with the other boatyard activity for more than 30 years before the fire. But that use did not predate zoning, and the building commissioner determined that the residential use should not be used again and that it should not commence again without a special permit from the Zoning Board of Appeals to change, to alter the pre-existing non-conforming use. Our zoning bylaw provides that a pre-existing non-conforming use may be changed, provided there's a finding by the Board of Appeals that the changed use is not substantially more detrimental. A use can be totally changed. A non-conforming, pre-existing non-conforming use can be changed from one use to another. I've submitted case law to the board to that effect. It happened to be a Falmouth case decided by the appeals court in 1986. We're not asking for a new separate use. We're asking for approval simply to have a residential use which is accessory to the boatyard. Now, we have a marina, which is a non-conforming use in a residential district. Marinas are allowed by right in Falmouth in the marine zoning district and in the business zoning district. They're also allowed in light industrial A district. In both the marine district and in the business district, a residential use along with the marina use would be allowed by right. Of course, in a business district, marinas are a by right use, residents are a by right use. Neither requires a special permit. You can have a mixed use that includes them both without a special permit. In the marine district, a residential use that is for the purpose of housing an owner or employee is a by right accessory use to a marina. And in the light industrial district, if you have a marina, you can have a dwelling for security purposes by special permit. We're simply asking for the use that is allowed by right to a marina in a marine district, or would be allowed by right to go along with a marina in a business district. This boatyard is surrounded by single-family residences, as it's in a single-family residence district. Adding the residential use, in a sense, might be considered making the boatyard more conforming, or it's not adding a new non-conforming use. But again, we're not asking for a separate residential use. We're simply asking for a use which in other districts in Falmouth where this subject is treated are considered customary and incidental as long as they are secondary to the primary use, which is the marina. Now, a strong argument can be made, which we didn't make to the building commissioner earlier, and have realized more recently in thinking about issues raised by the zoning administrator, that a special permit perhaps isn't even required, and that the use, the residential use for 30 years was in fact lawful. You don't need a special permit to change a pre-existing non-conforming use unless under the case of Powers versus Board of Barnstable, which is really a very famous case because it sets forth a three-part test for deciding whether you need a special permit. You don't need a special permit if the resulting use reflects the nature and purpose of the nonconforming use that prevailed when the zoning bylaw took in effect. You don't need a special permit if there's no difference in the quality or character as well as the degree of the resulting use. You don't need a special permit if the resulting use as changed is not different in kind in its effect on the neighborhood. And I think when we're talking about an accessory residential use, which is part of the boatyard, I think we meet all those tests. So I think the board could decide in this case that a special permit isn't required, at least conditioned as we've described it as accessory, and make a determination, a finding, and a decision accordingly. Or the board can grant a special permit because I think clearly the use as changed to include this accessory residential use is not substantially more detrimental to the neighborhood. Now, we can be very confident of that because of all of the letters you've received in support, none opposed. And most of those letters make reference to the fact that the residential use has been part of the boatyard for decades. I think I should describe for you just a little bit about the building. I know that, or I'm sure that members of the board visited the site. I don't know if you were able to get into the boatyard while it was open. But I put before you a plan of, we'll start with the whole building. This is the building you see when you enter the site from Quistit Harbor Road. And on this upper level to the far left is a loft for spars. Below that is a work area where boats, almost all of them non-motorized sailboats, small boats, are maintained and stored in the winter. And then there's the office area, break room, kitchen area that is on the first level, closest to the water, with boat storage below it. There's a second floor area shown here, which goes on top of this. And it has two spaces which are labeled on this plan, office, studio. These are the two rooms on either side of a loft area that would be available for residential use. There's no kitchen on this level. The kitchen already exists. It serves the employees. It would also be the kitchen that would be used by the owner or employee of the facility. So that's the second floor above this first floor plan, which has office, as I said, a break area, and a kitchen area. So the space already exists. There's no change proposed at all to the exterior of the property. Having a residential use, having presence at the boatyard in the evenings, possibly throughout the year, is beneficial for security. It's beneficial for management of the boatyard. And the validity of those statements is evident from the fact, again, that our zoning bylaw specifically allows this type of limited residential use. We have submitted some correspondence in response to different referrals that you've received. The conservation permit was predicated on plans that showed a two-bedroom septic system, 2 bedrooms as well as all the other uses in the building. We've submitted considerable information about fire safety. Much care went into the design of this building with the fire separation, walls and ceilings between the space used for the office and break and potentially for the residential use and the rest of the portions of the building. So we have letters from 2 architects, one a code specialist about the compliance of the building. occupancy permit has been issued for the building, and it does refer to residential use as an allowed use, but we'd still need the special permit or a determination that we don't. If you have questions, I'll try to answer them, or Weatherly Doris, I'm sure, can help.
Okay, thanks, Bob. Mark?
Sure, I'll start. Hi, Bob. First off, let me say it's a good plan, but I do have a question. And could you clarify, I didn't see it in the file, the powers test that you started talking about?
Mm-hmm.
Could you just revisit that for my
Sure.
benefit?
Sure.
It was submitted today, Mark.
I gave you a,
And I sent it.
yeah, I gave you a copy of the Powers case.
I sent it
I
out
didn't
today.
bring with me the extensive discussion about these issues that's in the Continuing Legal Education Mass Practice Series. There's been a lot of case law about when do you need a special permit, what changes to a pre-existing non-conforming use trigger the requirement to have a special permit. And all of those cases refer back to Powers versus Building Commissioner of Barnstable. That was a 1973 case. It's quite a long case, but towards the end of it, it does list the three parts of the test.
Yep, I see that.
And I can go
Actually,
through that if you like.
based on that, now that I have that in front of me, let me ask the question that I'm hung up on. Understanding that the boatyard predated the zoning.
Mhm.
The use and the structure at that time was a boatyard. What I have a hard time grasping, and my hope is that maybe the powers test will bring a little insight, is if in fact via letters, the first couple resident 1988, DeWolf 1996, they're all saying that residents or habitals, residence took place there. But it went without a special permit at that time. So I don't get why a special permit at that time wasn't pursued.
Why it was not pursued?
Right.
Well, there are a couple of reasons. One might be that the owners didn't understand that the legal requirement and therefore didn't get a special permit. That wouldn't be terribly unusual. The issue is now, if we need a special permit, as the building commissioner indicated, and we at the time agreed, would apply for it, which we've, of course, done, and that's this hearing. We get no benefit in terms of being entitled to a special permit for the residential use by virtue of what may have been an unlawful use at the boatyard for 30 years, except that the experience of the use over 30 years informs us significantly that what we're asking for doesn't create a problem. There were never any complaints by neighbors, and now all of those neighbors, and really almost all, we have 15 letters, these are from the immediate abutters and close abutters, close neighbors. They're all fully in favor of this, and they recognize the benefit, not only to the boatyard, but to those who use Quistit Harbor, to the community. So one answer may be that they didn't know that they needed a special permit and they didn't get it, and now we're asking for it. It's also possible, if they were smarter than I was when I first thought about this case, that they said, we don't think we need a special permit because we're just operating a boatyard and making some change to it that doesn't rise to the level of change that is substantial and changes the nature of what we're doing there on Quistit Harbor, such that we need a special permit. So there is an answer that would explain away the need for a special permit, but what more likely it is, they simply didn't know that it was an issue. And it wasn't an issue until it was raised by the building commissioner as the building was being completed after the terrible fire.
So then my next question would be, can a unlawful use, if that's what, I mean, throwing it out there, can an unlawful use be protected by 243C?
Well, assuming, for the sake of this discussion, that the residential use was not permitted as a change to the pre-existing non-conforming use, which did not require a special permit. Assuming that's correct, we're not asking you to determine that it was protected.
Okay.
It's the past. Maybe it wasn't allowed. Now we're saying to you, folks, we have a marina. It operates a very important role in this little community of Quistit. It would be better for everybody involved if there was the type of residential use we're proposing. And so we're asking for a special permit to modify, to change the pre-existing non-conforming use, which we know is allowed by right, namely the marina. And we're saying we're not changing what goes on at the property in any way that affects the neighbors or is really different from what was allowed in 1926. I'm not asking you to grant a special permit for residential use because there was 30 years of questionable use. I would ask you to take into account it was fine. It didn't have any detriment and therefore meets the test of not being substantially more detrimental.
That's all my questions. Thanks, Bob.
DJ?
Attorney Almond, just to reiterate, this apartment would be used by either the owner or an employee at the boatyard?
Yes, only those. I presume that somebody might have a family member, but it would be a residence for people who work there or are the owners.
And this apartment, how does it compare to the previous apartment in the building that burnt down? Is it a similar size or?
One thing to keep in mind is that it really isn't a separate apartment. It's not set up as that. The only kitchen is the kitchen that is used by the employees during the day, used for break. There's no living space connected to it except the common area that's downstairs. Now at nighttime when the employees aren't there and only the residents is there, they'll be able to, have that as private space. But as far as the space, I think it's very similar to what was there, but I'll check with...
Pretty much identical.
Because, of course, the reconstruction of the building was intended to meet the requirements of reconstruction after a fire, to be of substantially the same form as what existed before. I guess I should also point out that it would be perfectly reasonable for the board to condition a grant of a special permit that this space couldn't be rented to others. I don't think there's going to be any rent being passed between family members anyway, or be part of an employee's compensation. But often when you approve accessory apartments, you might put limits on the rental of it. We're not creating a separate apartment that really could be rented separately, but it's not for rental, it's just for the boatyard.
Okay, Ed?
After I went there and looked at it and then looked at the drawings, why do they even need a special permit?
Yeah.
That's a legal question.
You have a question for Bob.
Could you explain why we don't need a special permit?
Well,
So it's not necessary?
that goes to those tests in the Powers case. I don't think that the addition of this kind of residential use and this kind of residential facility changes the nature of what's there. It's a boatyard. It doesn't have any adverse impacts, any different impacts on the community. So those are two of the tests.
But you're not asking us to determine that you don't need a special permit.
I actually, in my correspondence today, proposed that you might do that. I think that there is case law that says if a board determines on a special permit application that a special permit is not required, it should so determine, make a finding. I know you've done that before. I can't remember the case, but I know you've done it. And so if you think that we don't need a special permit, I invite you to make a finding to that effect and a written decision that says so. However, we applied for a special permit. You may feel more comfortable granting the special permit as we've applied for. I don't really think it makes a big difference to us.
That answers the question. The only other thing was adequate fire protection.
Is there adequate, is there fire protection?
There most certainly is. I'd like to refer you to my correspondence of May 25th, which included a letter from Michael Walker, who's Massachusetts registered architect. In fact, he's apparently registered in 11 states. He's a code consultant and expert. He's based in South Dartmouth. He has been involved in this project doing the recent permitting related to the final piece of the work. It's his opinion that we don't need a sprinkler system. And I've submitted to you a letter from Bill Roslansky, architect of Woods Hole, who did the plans for the reconstruction. He points out that the building has the 2-hour rated firewalls separating the office proposed residential area from the work areas in accordance with the state building code. There's a comprehensive multi-zone fire alarm system tied into the fire department. When it became time for final finishes of the building, and there were conversations with the building department, the appropriate egress windows were installed to make sure that there was compliance with the code for residences. So we think we're ready to go, and we do have an occupancy permit that specifies residential use.
That satisfies my concern.
Okay. I think I'll hold my questions and just see if there's any comment from the public. Okay, if there's no comment from the public. Bob, so just so to make sure I understand, the argument for no special permit being required has to do with the fact that there's no detrimentality and that, I mean, what I'm looking at is you have a permit for the boatyard use, yes, as a pre-existing.
I don't know. We don't have a special permit for the use because it wasn't required because it predated zoning. There was a special permit granted for an extension to a shed dormer in 2002, but it didn't change the use. On the other hand, the building permit is clearly for the marina use. So we have permits that allow what's there.
Because implicit in the Marine District bylaw, which I know you're not applying on,
yeah,
is that the accessory dwelling unit is permitted by right?
correct. That's
So is
clear.
that already in the recognition that it's a marina use?
Well, I think even if you have a use that's permitted by right, if it's a non-conforming use, there could be things that change the nature of the operation, and I don't think it would be a mistake to say, because our zoning bylaw recognizes that that it's customary to have residences, that therefore you don't need any review, or that no matter what its impacts would be, it would be by right.
Okay.
And I think it's permitted by right because it meets the three-part test of the Powers case.
Well, it certainly would be clearer if we just gave you the special permit, then there'd be no argument or question as to the legitimacy.
I think that as long as there are not objectionable conditions, if it's simply approved as a use, you're basically saying that it's not substantially more detrimental, then that would be fine.
So my last question is, occupancy year-round, seasonal?
Right now, the intent is that the apartment will be used about half of the year by Mr. Barnard, who is still the president of the corporation. He works in the yard when he's there, but he doesn't spend all the time here. That's one bedroom that would be used. The other one may not be used generally, but just by visiting family. But there are also visiting craftsmen who come from time to time because of the specialized nature of the work on the historic boats that happens there. So they do bring in craftsmen from time to time, and that would be a logical thing to have somebody stay there for that purpose. As far as year-round, I don't know whether that's a possibility.
It's fully heated, insulated.
If you're going to speak, we do need you to go to the podium and state your name. Sorry.
Weatherly Doris, Quissa Boatyard. The building has several heating zones, and it is insulated. It's very efficient. There would be no problem in having it used here.
Okay. All right. Has the board heard enough?
Do you,
Anyone wanna move
can we
You wanna
discuss and
discuss
leave it
first?
open?
Sure. Go ahead, Mark.
Bob cleared it up, my question concerning unlawful by virtue of the powers tests that I started reading. In the question, and it's a great project, and I think it's obviously from the letters of support, witness to it's been in existence for some time. I see it being a benefit, just like Bob explained, from a standpoint of management and also for security. I would argue that we should go via the process of special permit. And my reason for that is it gives a little bit more control. My fear would be that if these owners were to pass it down to somebody else, there could possibly be an expanse of the habitable space into more than what it is right now. So if we say per plans, any modifications or improvements, they'd have to come back. And I think it gives some teeth to controlling what is actually a boatyard in a residential district, and it's kind of dicey as far as if that's permitted or not. But I think it is beneficial. I think there's no substantial detriment to the neighborhood, and meeting the powers tests, I think it's a good plan, but I'd like to go through a special permit.
Fair enough. And I guess the key thing is that the use, if I'm understanding correctly, predates zoning, so therefore that's why it's allowed.
Well,
Of the
the
boatyard.
use of the
As the
boatyard,
boatyard.
Right.
but not as the residence.
But then our special permit could also recognize, I think, what I'm thinking is recognize that boatyards in the current zoning bylaw
As a guide.
allow accessory, apartments as an accessory if they are supporting, if they're for the.
In a marina
In
district.
a marina district, if they're for the purpose
Marine,
of
excuse me.
housing the owner or employees.
Right,
Okay?
right.
So that limits the purpose, gives you the control of your.
Exactly.
TJ?
Nothing new to add?
Nothing.
I'm good to go.
Okay,
So I'll move to close.
okay. So, Mark moves to close,
Second.
seconded by Ed. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, and,
So I'll move to approve 4616.
okay, and is there a second?
Second.
I'm
I'm gonna say TJ.
I'm gonna get a second tonight.
TJ seconds.
Okay, findings?
And findings.
Findings.
I think basically what you guys just stated.
Yeah.
I can do into findings.
Yeah.
So we need-
It is a pre-existing non-conforming use that predates zoning, the residential use is not. But because it mirrors what's allowed in a marine district, even though this is residential, you're
And-
gonna limit it
and there's-
to,
Right, and I think you ought to specifically cite 240-43 C.
Yes.
right, which is a by right
Yes.
in a
Yeah.
marine
Accessory
district.
by accessory.
In a, right, in a marine district.
Right.
And then your 24216 findings I can make.
Yeah.
And certainly we want to note in the findings that there was
Testimony,
strong endorsement.
Strong endorsement from letters.
From the community.
letters of
from the abutters.
support, and testimony that it will be used for family or employees only and not rent, well, they didn't say it's not, they
Well,
don't have any
they have to
intention.
conform since we're citing, I mean, I would,
We're not yet, I'm just doing the finding based on the testimony that it's gonna be, your condition can
Right,
state
right.
that.
And you might note it's suitable, it's heated, we heard testimony, it's heated and suitable for your use. And there won't be any question if someone says,
testimony had it that there's a security benefit with occupancy on
Right.
property, a management benefit. There's a two-bedroom septic. The fire system is, has
That's in the
been,
file, and that's in the documents. Okay,
all right?
conditions? For plans?
For plans and, well, most importantly, probably, again, citing the limitations of 240-43.
We did that in findings, so the conditions
Yeah,
will
but
just.
that's a condition too, you're gonna say it's limited to.
Right, right, but I don't have to cite the 240-43C. in
No,
that.
no, but,
Okay, limit to employees and family members
right.
with
yes,
no renting out to, I'll word it somehow, to
Seasonal
outside
or
interest or
Third parties,
whatever.
I don't know what you wanna call it.
Okay,
I think that's pretty clear. I mean, employees and families.
Um,
Did we want to make a finding that we found this not substantially detrimental?
yeah, that goes in the 243C stuff that I
All
did.
right, all right. Conditions, that's probably it.
Special permit to expand any habitable space within the structure,
Yes.
because they don't always require a special permit
So
for
limit
interior
to 2
change.
bedrooms, how about limiting to 2 bedrooms, because that's what we've got. right?
Yeah, if you want to do that, that's
I
fine.
think-
I think that's,
I think that's-
since it's a two-bedroom septic, so.
Yeah, the
Well,
fire protection.
It also
is set up
takes
that way,
care
too.
of toilets in the
Right, in the
work area.
main area, yeah.
Limit to 2 bedrooms only.
Mhm.
So we've got per plan, so that's fine.
Yep,
Okay,
I think that's
All
good.
right, ready to vote?
anything else?
Mhm.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And aye.
Thank you.
Okay, passed unanimously, thank you. All right,
So,
next. Louis P. Ramiza, 42-16, 84 Trident Park Road.
this is really neat. Okay, do it next time.
Being all persons deemed affected by the Board of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that Luis P. Ramiza Jr. of East Falmouth, Massachusetts, applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to Sections 240-3, 240-38G4, 240-162, 240-216 of the Code of Falmouth to allow for a limited home occupation for auto salvage use with 2 flatbed trucks / tow truck to be parked on subject property known as 84 Trotting Park Road, East Falmouth, Massachusetts. And for referrals, engineering is the standard comment. From building, no comment. Fire department, no comment. Conservation, provided no storm water runs toward Trotting Park Road. From planning, no comment. And there was 1 letter in opposition in the file.
And?
And there's another letter in the file. How would this be categorized, sorry?
I can't see which one you're looking at. Who is it from?
Uh,
I believe it's the lady who's getting ready to speak.
right. 84 Trotting Park Road.
I thought there was a letter of support in there.
I think this is the letter of support. Yes, it is. All right,
So 1 and 1?
1 and 1.
Okay.
Christine Remisa. And we were permitted for a condition of a year for this permit, depending on how things went for the year. And I believe that there was no opposition. There was no calls on any complaints. We've met all the conditions in regards to the site as far as speedy dry. I did write a letter. I submitted that yesterday in regards to the fencing and the shrubbery. And as I wrote in the letter, we would have it done for this evening. It is complete. And we were also able to not only meet the conditions, but we've extended the fence the entire lot line with the abutter. And we put in additional shrubbery. So we went from 4 arborvitae, 2 died this winter. And we replaced those and added 5 more arborvitae. So I feel like we had a great year. We've met the conditions and we're looking to have this put permanent.
Okay. Any questions from the board regarding this? Go ahead.
So you said no complaints, no official complaints. Has there been any unofficial complaints, people in the neighborhood talking?
People in the neighborhood talk a lot, but no, I think everyone's been in support. We have a neighbor in back of us that's always been in support. They've not been able to make the meeting, and we have it's sort of an abutter to the adjoining road that said very positive things, and they wrote a letter, and our other neighbors are here as well.
So just for my own benefit, the only difference is you're coming back because it was a year,
Yes.
right?
Yes, it was a trial run.
There's no changes to more vehicles or less vehicles, or we still have the registration numbers and all
Yes.
that in the file?
Yes, correct.
Okay. DJ, anything?
With the letters that were submitted after I reviewed the file, everything's been addressed.
The only question I had, when all those registrations have expired, are they the same vehicles?
They're all the same vehicles, and we do have the updated registrations. If you would like us to drop off and submit, we'd be happy to do that.
Should that be done?
Yeah, that's,
That would be up to the board to condition.
yes.
Sure.
You conditioned it for last year.
Yeah.
We haven't done this year yet, but just for the record, I've received no calls. There's been no violations that I'm aware of from zoning enforcement or otherwise. The only call I did receive was, I believe, after she got notice of this, somebody said that the fencing wasn't complete, and it is complete now. They had a little bit of problems this year,
Well, I
so,
went to the site today, and the fence is up.
yeah.
Oh, I went Monday and it wasn't.
So it is only that one call after the office sent out the abutters notices.
Brand new fence, looks very good.
And that's what the one trailer was there for.
Very
The additional trailer was there because it brought the fencing to the site.
Okay.
So,
This-
probably,
This drawing that was in the file here was from a year ago or 10 months ago. And there's 2 buildings here and there's a frame here.
Right.
And the drawing should be updated.
that the hoop structure next to the one that they use
Mhm.
doesn't require
because it's a temporary structure.
Right.
Oh, okay, all right.
Because this is dated April 15th, 2016.
Yeah, they,
No, but the actual drawing was done last fall.
Right,
Here.
Oh,
that's
there we
September,
go.
I
Yeah,
believe.
September 15th.
Right. It doesn't require a building.
Yeah, whereas, and even the other one is a temporary building.
No, it's not, it has a floor in it.
Oh, that's right, yeah. Okay.
Okay. That's it for the board at the moment?
public, yeah.
So anything in the public? Come on up.
Earl Berry, I live across the street from them. We have no problem with whatever they do. There's no excess noise or anything. So, I mean, some of the neighbors, they, you know what you talk about, but we have no problem with it.
Okay.
I've lived here for 45 years, so I have no problem. Thank you.
Thank
Very
you.
good, thank you.
Any other public comment? Okay, if there's no other public comment, then,
I'll move to close.
Second,
okay, all in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Yeah.
And what's the pleasure of the board?
Go ahead, T.
I'll move to approve application 47-16.
Okay, we have a motion by TJ
Second.
to approve, seconded by Ed. Findings?
Since last year, no official complaints have been recorded.
And the conditions of fencing and shrubbery have been met.
Yes. In fact, exceeded.
Okay?
That's a condition, well, yeah, that condition was met, so there's a finding.
Vehicles in use on the site remain the same, in use on the site as part of the business. If they want to be clearer, it's just those are the vehicles we're talking about. And that the registrations have been updated, maybe we could.
It will
ask-
be. That
You're
can
gonna
be a
condition that.
Condition it, yeah.
But as a finding, that they're, perhaps the finding would be that the registrations on.
That they're amenable to submit yearly
Yes.
registrations.
Okay, anything else? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Huh?
So those conditions you didn't do.
Oh, sorry.
Do you want me to
So the condition would be.
do the same except for the special permit expiring? Because now they have their,
Yes.
by your vote, they have a special permit.
Right.
But the conditions would remain the same except removing the fencing because it's complete.
Right.
Right.
And the 1 year. So we still want the registrations.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
You guys already closed up.
yeah, we're
We're
done.
I
We're
can't say
done.
anything.
Thank you very much.
I just had a question about the registrations. If they don't change, do we have to come in with them?
Yeah, so we make sure that they're not
Just a
unregistered. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Did you have any doubts?
Our final hearing before we move into open meeting for the evening
Which there won't be.
is 50-16, Brian Krickus.
What background, or what ethnic?
Lithuanian.
Lithuanian.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead,
Brian
TJ.
Skrikas. I reside at 62
Oh,
Elaine
he's
Ave.
got to read the
He's
notice,
got to
honey.
read it in.
Read this into the record
One
first.
second.
Being all persons deemed
We wanna
affected
get
by
out
the Board
to-
of Appeals under Section 11 of Chapter 40A of the Massachusetts General Laws, you are hereby notified that Brian D. Strickis of East Falmouth, Massachusetts, applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to Section 240-38I of the Code of Falmouth to allow for an accessory apartment within the single-family dwelling on subject property known as 62 Elaine Ave, East Falmouth, Mass. And for referrals, engineering is the standard comment, noting that Elaine Ave is a private right-of-way, and the project must not direct stormwater runoff to public property, butters, or rights-of-way. From building, no comment. Fire department, no comment. Planning, no comment. Conservation, no comment. And that's it for referrals.
Brian Skrikus, I reside at 62 Elaine Avenue. Basically, just requesting a special permit for an accessory apartment within my existing man cave, I guess you could call it. The only thing I have to change with the structure is I checked with building, and they said I need a second means of egress, which I am more than willing to do, which will be in the back of the house, not visible from the street, so nothing will be changed from that point of view, so it won't obstruct any my neighbors, or the neighborhood.
Ron, you want to explain where that egress is going to be on the second story, where that window is? You want to explain that to the board?
That egress will be in the back where the bathroom is. I have a window there which I can take out and put in a 30-inch door with a 3x3 landing with stairs going down to the ground.
Okay. Let's start with that.
I don't have any questions. Seems pretty straightforward.
No questions?
Mark always has a question.
I have a question. So, with regard to the parking plan,
The parking plan will be to the right in the driveway, closest to the stairs going up to the side.
and it's going to be limited just to one vehicle?
Just to one vehicle.
Just to
yes.
one vehicle, okay. And then, let's see. I had a question on the, oh, no. I don't have a question. That's it. That was it. That was so short.
We're all shot.
So short. It's pretty clear.
TJ, you didn't have any questions?
No questions?
Okay, so I'm actually a little behind the eight ball here. So the man cave has cooking facilities currently, or
No.
are you adding?
I'm adding, we'll add a stove to it. It does have water. It was just basically, it was a bar
Okay.
for playing
The
poker.
bar is remaining?
Bar will probably get taken out.
Oh, what fun's that?
I won't be using it as the man cave anymore.
Oh. Jeez, I'm not staying there. Okay, and the square footage of the accessory apartment is total square footage?
Total square footage for like 455, yeah.
And the total square footage of the house?
Oh, the house?
It's on the worksheet.
2135.
Yeah.
The accessory apartment's 526 square feet.
526?
Oh, excuse me.
No, on the worksheet it's 455.
Yeah, 455, I apologize.
And then the worksheet says the principal structure is 2135.
Thank you. What is it? 2135. That includes space in the basement outside of the utilities.
455 divided by 2135, 21%. That's what I was after.
It was in the file.
Yes. I don't
I
have
said I was behind the eight ball. Okay, that's, I guess those are my
Okay.
questions.
Just for the record, Brian, do you want to state that, what the apartment's for? And who's going to be residing there?
The apartment is for, a buddy of mine is gonna rent it for the time being. And then my daughter is gonna be going off to college in September, so when she graduates, hopefully she can live there until she saves enough money and gets on her feet to buy something of her own.
Unless she has a great job.
Unless she has,
Downtown Manhattan.
exactly.
We'll hope for that.
She's related to me.
As long as she's happy, that's it.
Yeah.
All right, has the board heard enough?
Yes.
And there's no public out there, so.
Yep.
All right, motion to close?
I'll make the motion to close.
I'll second.
TJ, Ed moves to close, TJ seconds, and then is there a motion to approve.
But first you got to vote for the closing.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you for keeping us
I
on it.
wasn't detecting.
I'll make a motion to approve 5016.
No, second it.
Some findings.
Yes.
Let's see here.
Meets 240-23I.
24038I?
Oh, is it agricultural? I'm sorry. I don't have anything in front of me.
Yeah, 24038I is met.
But, okay, what I do on this is I go one step by each one. They reside in the house, it meets it's already existing bedroom, because it meets the criteria of a bedroom, Board of Health.
Right.
So I'll go through all of them.
Then do
So-
you identify the fact that the worksheet was submitted, meets the
Well, that's already in the
requirement?
file, yeah. It'll be
Not in the water resource protection.
number 1. That'll be number 4.
Okay. Testimony had one parking spot with a parking plan.
That's number 6 or 7, yes.
Okay.
I go through them all.
All right.
Okay.
The one thing you didn't ask, but I do know for a fact, is that this is their residence. They are there 7 months out of every year.
It's a nice eye.
So I'll put
So we'll
that,
make
that's
that
number
as a-
2, I think.
That'll be a finding. Okay.
And then
So-
24216,
Yeah.
and they do know
per
that they have to do a
plans.
restrictive covenant, which is number 7.
And then, so the condition would be per plans. Are we moving into conditions yet?
So,
Conditions, they have to do the deed restriction,
Right.
and they've agreed to that.
which
Yep.
is in number 7.
And then the plans do have that modification for the second egress,
Yes.
so it can be per plans.
Yeah. And we usually put a condition on this that it meets the criteria of the building code for egress.
Right.
Do you want to just keep that in there in case?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, we ready to vote?
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And aye. Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Very good.
Associate Department.
Yes, indeed.
So I'll get a hold of you, and we'll go through the restrictive covenant.
Okay.
Okay?
All right, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
for your
you.
patience.
Thank
We'll
you.
get through the rest
Oh,
of
no problem. Have a great evening.
You as
Yeah,
well.
too.
this. All right.
Okay, there's nothing in the open meeting that we have to go through because we have to continue it all till next week.
Right, but we should at least tick it off. So the minutes, May 19th, are not prepared yet,
Really?
hence
Don't,
we'd like to
they're
table those to
they're
June.
prepared, I'm not
It's my
prepared.
reputation.
I didn't,
Rod did a great job on it, but Sheree has to check on it.
exactly, exactly.
So we'll look at those on June 2nd. Because of Kim's absence, the
Number 2.
the Gansett Crossing.
And Paul,
Well, it's one at a time. Because don't we need to actually have a motion to
it's an open meeting.
open meeting? You don't need
I've
it?
contacted the attorney and the applicant, and they're agreeable to meet next Thursday at 6 o'clock.
So we've rescheduled the Gansett Crossing to 6 PM on the 2nd of June. Please be here for that. And the Forest Cove administrative approval.
We're going to put off.
So has anyone else been to the site?
To Forest Cove?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, not recently.
They haven't been into the structures, I'm the only one, and I went into 3 and 1 and 4, but I will do another inspection tomorrow,
Okay, so you don't
based on
need-
what you've told me, and we're gonna hold off on this.
Right, so we'd like to hold off because my inspection looked different than what they were asking for based on
Correct.
my discussions with Suri.
Can we talk about that, or just wait for
Nope,
next week?
wait till next week.
Okay.
Bylaw review update, the agreement has been approved by Frank Duffy, but not yet signed by the Messrs. Ritchie and Mitchell, who are the guys who are going to actually do the bylaw review. So that's the progress on that.
Is there a date certain for that? As far as,
I have no idea. I have to just keep asking Brian.
Any,
And just to let you know that I'll put the letter to the planning board regarding the accessory bylaw review on for next week as well, because Kim
it's a good idea,
got called away, so
yeah.
we'll do that next week as well.
Any other correspondence or board updates? Any other future agenda items?
Anyone?
Okay, meeting adjourned.